Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this webinar from Centro Studi Galileo and his partners. I pass word to Silvia Romano, who will introduce us.
So good morning, everybody, and welcome. We are now live and we will be starting soon to talk about digital tool for RAC servicing in our webinar. We thank you all for attending, of course. And my name is Silvia, as my director said before, from Centro Studi Galileo. I have the pleasure to introduce to you our moderator, Marco Boni, who is the president of the European Association of RAC Contractors, AREA, and the director of Centro Studi Galileo. Furthermore, I present to you Gabriele Puzzolo. He is the IoT service manager for Carel Industries.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And Tony Gonzalez, who is the technical training manager from Fieldpiece. Connected all the way from the USA. Okay, good. So I leave the floor to our director, and thank you again for your attention.
Thank you so much, Silvia. Thank you, Tony, which is 2 a.m. in the morning. Thank you for being up so late, being with us so late. And also to Gabriele for being with us today. So 1 second, because I will give you a brief introduction. So I need 5 minutes. I will take out your video, Tony and Gabriele. So I will give a small presentation, and I take out also the audio of Gabriele and Tony. I will be here and speak a bit about what we are going to do today. Okay, we're talking about digital tools for RAC servicing, remote control at the time of lockdown, an important subject for us all. Some of you are home, some of you are working, but our sector is essential. Is an essential sector in this time. So we need air conditioning, we need refrigeration for the food, and we have to be careful about our sector, which is being pointed for the good and for the bad, because air conditioning also is a movement of air, so should be controlled not to spread the virus. So let's start. What we are going to do today, 1 hour will be here for this webinar, and we will speak around 20 minutes for each speaker, plus question and answer. On your right, we are around 50 attendees at the moment, but more are coming. On your right, there is a cell with questions. Please put your questions there. We will ask the question to the speaker at the end of his presentation. So, if we have too many questions, we will send me by email and back to you. If you want to see a second time this webinar, we have a YouTube channel in which this webinar will be broadcasted. So thank you again for being here. I hope you are all well. I am the president of AREA and Secretary General of ATF. AREA is the European Association of Contractors. It's 26 associations from Europe. Just to say, there is Italy, there is Turkey, there is Norway, there is Germany, France, Spain, UK. In total, there are 26 associations from 22 countries. Sorry, 22 countries from Europe. And I'm the representative from Italy, of course. We represent the contractors who do the installation, the maintenance, the repair of air conditioning refrigeration systems. Also, we do training and certification. Now, in Europe especially, we have a very big, of course, interest in training for new refrigerants, for how to do the work, the best practice as better as possible, because our sector is important, our work is important, and we should check that our systems are working perfectly with all the tools that we have, and all with our expertise that we have, all the competence that we have. So we do training as Centro Studi Galileo in around 140 countries we did training. In this picture, you can see Argentina. Few of our, also from Carel was present in Argentina, was with us in Argentina, we have with Gambia, we did training for ex-Russian Republic through UNIDO, UNEP, UNDP. Around 10,000 certificates we had since 2012. We did since 2012. We certified, assessed 10,000 persons, not only in Italy, but in Europe, as we said. And also we do training on basic advanced course for refrigeration, installer, advanced course for chiller, commercial refrigeration, practical and theoretical installation and maintenance of split systems, heat pumps, etc. Also we have webinars. In particular, this is our webinar in English language with Carel and with Fieldpiece, and we thank our partner for this webinar. And we did during the lockdown since March with around 10 webinars. Every week we had one webinar, and we are going to do a big event on the 26th of June for the World Refrigeration Day. By the way, today is the World Environment Day, so happy World Environment Day to all of you. Our sector is important for the environment as well. Our sector is vital for the environment as well. Our sector consume energy, produce gases. Both these substances are to be controlled. So energy should be controlled, and our sector is important to control energy. We consume around 15–20% of the energy worldwide. So it's important to control our sector, our energy, our systems, to have less consumption as possible with our tools, with IoT tools, with physical tools. We have a conference. The next one will be in 2021. As you know, this is not very good period for conference, physical conference, so it's good for webinars. But we do every 2 years a conference, and the next one will be in 2021 with 300 delegates from 32 countries, and with all the major associations for worldwide. We had EPE, we had HRI from US, ASHRE, AREA, my association, of course. We had ASERCOM from Europe and many other associations from Europe. IIR and UNEP were recognized with us. Also, we like to point out our project, Real Alternatives. Last week, we had a big webinar called Real Alternatives Live, because we are ending the funding, but our project, Real Alternatives, to produce material for alternative refrigerant, to give competence on new refrigerants is going on. We already trained around online e-learning, we already trained around 5,000 technicians worldwide. We have 17 languages available, so you can imagine it's worldwide, all the languages of the world, nearly. Okay, we are missing maybe big languages like Chinese and Arabic, but all the others are there. And we are focusing on certification on alternative refrigerants. So at the end, you got certified, especially for the safety side, because we know that refrigerants are toxic, are flammable. So on the safety part, we try to make the most to introduce you the safety standards, the safety practice. So please link to realalternatives.eu. We have a magazine. Our magazine is also in English, and this is the last magazine in English. You can see here the international special issue. We did it with United Nations Environment Program, with IIR, and with all the major associations worldwide. There is ISHRA from India, and all the other associations I mentioned earlier. This magazine has been launched in the MOP in Rome last November. MOP is the Montreal of Protocol of Montreal Conference, which is every year. This year, I hope it will be physical, not a webinar, but let's see. So thanks to all our partners. Thank you. Thank Carel, thank Fieldpiece, Platinum partners. They make possible this training, these webinars. We want to give you competence. We want to give you the latest technologies. So thank you for helping us to give these webinars. Now we are around 70 persons that are attending. I have finished my conclusions. I have finished my presentation. So the next speaker will be Gabriele. Gabriele, in a second, we'll see in videos. Ciao, Gabriele.
Ciao, Marco.
Hello, we see you very well. We hear you very well. I will share the screen with you in a second. So, Gabriele, make presenters. In 1 second, Gabriele, you should see on your screen, share your screen. I think you see it. Perfect. We see your slide. Carel, from descriptive to perspective. We see it very well. So, Gabriele, we talk about the new era of digital services for HVAC-R application. Thank you, Carel, always to be present at our training. Thank you so much.
I'm trying to hide this, sorry. Thank you very much, Marco. Very warm welcome also from my side. What I would like to talk with you about is how digital services can be a game changer in the HVAC-R applications, and share also some experience that Carel did in these fields of digital services. So, as a summary, a small summary, I will going to give you a small introduction. I promise, very small, and then we're going to talk about the descriptive analytic layer, and with a focus then more into the prescriptive analytics that we believe is the new game changer, is the new, I would say, scenarios and new possibilities that are around the digital services. At last, I will also give you a real case studies that Carel are working on together with their partner in the world. So, the industry, we are seeing that is under a rapid transformation. So the Internet of Things solutions are taking really the center stage in the sector. So even more now, if you consider that Earth is severely impacted by the big scenario, businesses are asked to be strategic and to plan strategically a 3 steps strategy that is respond to the scenario, recover, and then thrive in order to push new businesses and new opportunities. As a consequence, of course, as you can imagine, connectivity, remote access, and building digital twins are becoming really an important part of any of these strategies. If we consider in HVAC-R applications, also are in the middle of these things. And we believe that the digital services, with the focus in delivering the value through remote, cloud-based platforms, can become really the new game changer. So just to mention some of the values that can be achieved by this, right? Imagine to be able to optimize the operational and maintenance costs by remotely have analysis of the system performances that minimize all the on-site call-outs. So having done everything on a centralized view and by remote access. Imagine to have also machine historical data entrance for global performances. Imagine also how a company would be able also to focus marketing campaigns, right? By just having the possibility to have a look on the install base with geolocalizations, machine types, installer team, in order really to make a straightforward analysis from remote. Imagine also how can be easy the warranty management, right? Having a centralized overview of all the claims, splitting by stores, and also receiving distributed rollout of software upgrades, right? Just from one point down to all the stores without any on-site intervention. So, and finally, also you can imagine how many business opportunities and how can improve the quality of the service level agreement contracts between the end customers and all the contractors by having transparency on this quality of the reaction time, by having reports and generating reports out of performances of this. So if we talk about the IoT services, there are different levels of utilizations and also processing of the data that are mined from all the fields and from all the stores. And of course, valuable services are possible just with an adequate information management. So we consider, and it's pretty a common thought, that there are more or less 4 layers of intelligence behind. a lot of solution you see in the market that stays into the descriptive level. So the descriptive level is, we believe, is the base of the IoT, because it's just to create a transparency on the current and on the past situations. It's just to convert the data, collect the data, and just to give transparency out of it. The preventive level just make a little bit of a step ahead and wants to try to understand what are these data, and we're trying to understand what might happen in the future, but doesn't do really anything. So, I mean, it looks to me they are a bit lazy at this level, I have to say, even if it's smart. And then you go into the prescriptive analytics. Well, the prescriptive level proposes really is more on a proposing side. So it's proposing operative strategic solutions on basis of the analysis that are performed. So, and then of course there is the top level, that is the proactive part, where of course, besides the suggesting, is also implementing that, is also implementing so through continuous improvement situations. Just to give you an example that maybe is more familiar to all of us, right? Let's consider an automotive sector, right? So you're driving a nice car, one of the new ones that has all the optional and cool stuff inside. Maybe you have one of those. You are driving in a highway and you are approaching the car ahead of you. So in the display of your car, it shows you that there are, let me say, there are some bars that are becoming, for example, bolder if you are getting closer to the car in front of you. This is just the descriptive level, so it's just describing what's the situation around. Some cars that are a little bit smarter start blinking some alerts, just that understanding that something might happen in the future. But if you go, I mean, the cars that are more advanced also are showing you some braking alerts, are giving you suggestions to brake, and that's the prescriptive level, where they are really suggesting to you, but give the ownership of the activities to you, that you are the owner of the car. And then there are the most advanced cars that are, if you are not doing anything, they are starting automatically to slow down the speed, start automatically to soft brake, and that's more the proactive version of it, right? So, of course, different levels of intelligence delivers also totally different values if you consider. So, if we come back to the HVAC-R application, Carel, a red-optimized platform of digital service of Carel, delivers a multi-layer processing digital service platform. So, that starts from a really comprehensive descriptive analytic layer, that focus mainly on 4 parts. That is alarm and risk avoidance. In this, you may have a centralized alarm management with real notifications, real-time notifications, so across multi-sites. Then you can also benchmark all the analysis on the alarms by different categories: type of alarms, priorities, severity of alarms. And then you move also into the energy saving values. Of course, the energy savings, as Marco said, is one of the core focus of the improvements and of the performance of all the applications. We need to reduce the energies everywhere, right? So it's a clear goal going forward, and so it's an actual goal. So the platform is able to centralize all the energy consumptions analytics and makes also store comparison benchmarks. This is very important because then, besides getting all the overview, you can create a kind of a virtuous internal competition between the stores to see which ones are performing best and use it as a baseline and as a benchmark for all the others, really to improve the situation of all the install base. Then there is also normalization factors, of course. You can consider there are different types of installation, different sizes. How to compare all of them? You need a certain level of normalizations, for example, by square meter, in order to have comparable analytics, depending on all the types of installations and buildings you may have. And then, of course, you can get really nitty-gritty down. If you install different energy meters, you can have a zone analysis by analyzing which are the energy war, the worst performance sectors and the worst performance areas inside your stores. If you go on the operational cost reduction, well, you have to consider that this is really big impact for all the end customers, because we are talking about not bills and energies and utilities. We are really talking about cost of people. So having the possibility to improve these things is very, very interesting for the end customer and very important. With this, having the possibility to have the geolocalizations of all the stores and having the possibilities to have multi-sites and multi-user management overviews, where different stakeholders can access different parts of the same portal by user rights, gives the flexibility that a platform that a multi-site platform has to have. And of course, you can also collect the benchmark on the performance of the different contractors, so to have a benchmark of the service level agreement in order to be sure that the service level you are delivering is recognized properly and is transparent to also the end customer. And last but not least, of course, I mean, if we are talking about food retail, especially, I mean, the food quality is it's in the head of everyone, of every end customers. And of course, on one side is the HACCP compliance, that is something that has to be fulfilled and delivered. But then it's also having the possibility to customize KPIs, customize a lot of information based on in the showcases and in the cabinets in order to analyze the performance of the cabinets and have the best-in-class performances of it. So the Carel digital service platform at the end is delivering a lot of value informations to different type of customers, of course, and already by creating a lot of transparency. And that's the value of the descriptive analytics of the data coming from the plant. But I mean, as I said before, this is not enough. So this is just creating, let me say, transparency, but it's just we need skilled people to handle this data. We as Carel, with the Red Optimize, we try to be, as mentioned before, multi-layer digital service platform. So on top of the descriptive analytics, that is for sure the floor of all the new developments and the base of a proper digital service platform, we introduce machine learning techniques, and in order really, because we believe that we can unleash the real power of the data collected from the field by giving a meaning to this data. So just here to summarize a little bit, how does it work, the machine learning algorithms? So it's more or less, as you can see also from the picture briefly, it's a loop of two main phases. One is the training and calibration, the other one is test and result. So you make some hypothesis, then you test it, and then you feed in the information into the first hypothesis to improve the hypothesis. So the first, you collect data, you use it, and you create the algorithm, and you learn how they are performing all the machines on the field. Then in the second phase, let me say, the algorithm that comes out from this, so the brain that comes out from this, is tested using new inputs, new data, new values, and the output of this is fed in again into the training and calibration as a real loop. So machine learning algorithms, it's really can, of course, help to understand historical data, trends, behaviors, specific item where it is applied. So that's why Carel decided to apply such artificial intelligence on cabinets and showcases, and as first step, to focus on improving the defrost cycle. Because in low temperature assets means, because it's always kind of a pain for all the end customer, this part, because mainly, I mean, there are studies that are telling that, I mean, the only defrost cycle counts 15% on the entire energy consumption. So by focusing and improving this, we can have already a huge benefits in every single cabinets that multiplied inside the stores can create a lot of benefits. And we will see later on a real example on an application of this. So, and also, this is more the direct benefits, of course, improving the energy, but also there are a lot of indirect benefits, right? So it's quality of the temperature regulations, and it's also lifetime expectation of the cabinets, but it's also quality of the food conservations inside. So it's really touching a lot of points that are really an interesting for the end customer. So what happened? So Carel at the end decided to combine thermodynamics know-how of his, that is an historical, it's in the DNA of the companies, and the best-in-class data mining technologies and data mining intelligence, and created this advanced algorithm, machine learning algorithms, that is able to provide a deep and guided analysis on the overall defrost performances. It also gives really clear indication and easy to digest informations and on the quality of the installation in field. It's also giving evidence of the quality of the defrost configuration, giving a meaning why also this defrost configuration and the defrost performances are good or bad, and also is giving corrective improvement action suggestions to be performed by technicians, and that's why it's prescriptive, and because it's just suggesting what can be done in order to improve all the situations there. So how it works? So the defrost machine learning algorithm is automatically applied. So once you have the right optimized platform, it can be automatically applied in all the single cabinets. And in every single defrost that are performed inside the cabinets. And it gives mainly three main clusters of information. So the first one is the field installation compliance. And thanks to the prediction of the quality of the positioning of the sensing temperature probes and of the parameters configuration, it gives, let me say, clear indication on how the situation within the installation is relatable. It's also giving you a defrost score. So this is also to mention that it's giving simple indications. It's not giving super technical information, but it's really giving an eye catcher with a score that gives you good, medium, bad. And then you can go down into your analysis, but it's already is an eye catcher for also the people that are not into that topic specifically, but it is assigned to at least have an overview and control that. And then it's analyzing measurement trends, is analyzing data coming from all the probes, and the algorithm is assigning performance values out of it by making calculations. And then it's also generates alerts. It generates alerts, of course, when it's a low defrost score, and the alerts is also always related to corrective measures and assignment of the reasons of the bad performances of the defrost score. So we need to, in order really to ensure that the data that are mined has a meaning and has an easy meaning to understand. So if we go for, I want to now share the case studies to give a little bit of grip to these thoughts that maybe can become a little bit loosey because our digital are in the cloud. So this is really to give you what happened in a real case. We were working together with a big showcase manufacturer, and we through a lot of installation that they made. And we made, let me say, we connected all these stores and all the cabinets to our platforms. And we start to analyze and collect informations. And we already ranked all the stores by defrost performances, by these algorithms that was running behind. So there was really immediately a clear focus on the plants that were performing bad. And that's the real value of the digital service in our digital platform, right? I don't care which is with the stores that are performing good. I have to improve the ones that are performing bad. So that's why there are league tables that rank the performances. And then by just clicking on the ones that were performing bad, there were dashboards that were creating inside the store the evidence, as you can see in the picture of device 4, the evidence that there was a specific device, in this case the cold room, was really not performing a proper periodical defrost, was hectic, was not equidistant. So there was just, as an eye catcher at a glance, you were already seeing, compared to all the rest, that something was really kind of stinky, you know? So something was not really clear. So by then inside and going into the details more, this was done also by to understand and deep dive the informations and to prove our algorithms behind that was telling this, that was telling already this. There was, let me say, an analysis into the deepening, into the trends, and into the regulation performances. And we were seeing that defrost also configurations, by checking easily from remote, was not really properly set. So there was a configuration that was performing double the defrost, that was performing defrost where it was not really needed, and was also time-based defrost. So at the end, the main impacts are energy waste, as you can imagine, and really is a waste because it was not really needed. And not to mention, of course, all the negative influence that was on the regulation performances on the cabinet. So we changed some configuration parameters from remote very easily, very easy configuration. So the time, the period of the defrost. And as you can see, the improvements was really high immediately, and was done really, the improvements was start to get periodical, the score was really improved. And as a consequence, this result, well, on one side was improving, let me say, the change of the configuration was improving the single cabinets, but the other benefits was that this improvements was checked in all the other cabinets, in all other stores, was spreaded by broadcasted from centralized to all the stores, and there was overall improvements in performances of 30% overall. It's a huge improvement. On top of this, there was 10% defrost time reductions. This 10% is money. And I mean, that's to be, of course, depends on where you are, on which are the energy costs. But at the end, reducing, let me say, the number of defrosts by twice, there was really generating, in this case, 350 euros per evaporator. You can make the multiply how many evaporators you may have in a stores and how many stores you have. So these values can really take out by the prescriptive analysis and can generate kind of a no-brainer feeling and a peace of mind from the customers on this digital service platform. So for me, as a conclusion of all this speech, I'm really stressing the point that for sure, the first level of all IoT technologies is creating the transparency of the information. That is already a big lack in our markets. There is not often a clear understanding on how the storage is performing, how the application are performing really well. So for sure, descriptive is the base, but I want to stress the point that the real value and to unleash the powers and the next really phase of all IoT is generating and using artificial intelligence in order to transform the raw data into meaningful values, because the data itself is just a number, and the meaningful values you can take out of it is the real value and the real benefits also for the end customers. So that's for me the new game changer and the new, let me say, scenarios that we are going into, that we are facing now in the IoT. And I have to say that from Carel, we are really on top of this, and we are really getting a lot of great feedbacks from the customers based on this and from the market. Well, thank you. That's for me the presentations. So Marco.
Thank you very much, Gabriele. I think it was very good presentation and very comprehensive and very clear. We heard you very well, and the presentation was very clear. So we have a few questions. More questions are coming as well. I remember everybody to put questions on the right in the dashboard. There is a cell, a line with written on questions. So please put your question over there. So Silvia, please, do we have any question for Gabriele?
Of course. I will start with the one by Thomas. He's asking if this approach is mainly to the user of the equipment.
Well, this approach, so the user of the equipment, so the end user is the one that has the entire portfolio of values. But the approach of Carel is helping all the different stakeholders within the business to have his own values. One example, for example, alarm management and a service level agreement contracts can be a huge benefit for a contractor type of customers rather than for our retailers, because at the end he is the responsible of all the maintenance of that. And having transparency, having, let me say, clear informations, and having, let me say, reducing the number of call-outs can improve on one side the service to his customer, so locking his customer to him, and also improve his operational costs also, as an example.
That's great. Thank you for the thorough explanation. Then we have another question from Anand. He's asking, when shall the RAD be launched?
Well, the RAD platform, RAD Optimize, it was previewed at Euroshop, and it is going to be launched in September, rolled out everywhere. We are releasing for first early adopter in July, some in order to make some tests, but September will be the official launch worldwide.
Okay, great. Then we have a question about IoT. Can it be used also for low-cost applications like bottle coolers or vending machines? Because usually it is mostly implemented for bigger systems.
Yeah, as Carel providing also solution for, I would say, food services like, and also bottle cooler and so on, Carel is also focusing and targeting to deliver services also for, let's call it, low-cost applications. We are going to segment, of course, our offer, but there will be for sure soon announcements also on a portfolio of services into that kind of applications.
That's great. And then about communication, IoT is linked to communication carriers like Vodafone or Telecom, so the big companies. Can it be done also without them, so we don't affect their working?
Maybe I didn't understand fully the question. So, well,
is it always linked to the big telecommunication companies, for example, Vodafone, or can it be done also without them?
Well, actually, I mean, our platform, our cloud platform, it's, let me say, Amazon Web Services based platform. We have also APIs to integrate to third parties. I would say cloud platforms if there is the needs. So we can also discuss on this. And to be honest, we just we are sitting into a network communication infrastructure. So is not Vodafone, can be Vodafone, can be, I mean, Deutsche Telekom, can be everyone. Important is that there is a minimum quality of services and a minimum, I would say, of stable communications in order to let us deliver the services to the customers. But we are not sticking to one of them. We can really be, let me say, we are pretty agnostic on this side.
Okay.
We have still two questions here. Can we ask him two questions and then we pass to Tony, okay, Sylvia?
Okay, sure. So I will be quicker. Rafael is asking which kind of network is used to connect all of the equipment in the field with these devices?
Well, so the typical infrastructure we have is that all the devices that are installed in the field and in the cabinets are connected through a standard RS485 connections, so it's a serial connections, and then to a supervisor. And these supervisors act as a local controller in order to do really the local functionalities and to collect all the information as a centralized point of contact locally. And then this also is used as a gateway to the cloud portal in order to create, let me say, the communication within all the different stores to the cloud portal.
Okay, then I will go with the last question, if there are any mobile applications available to get all this data.
Well, at the end, it's web-based. So we don't have a specific mobile application for this specific RAD optimized. We have also other packages of services that are serving different kind of application that are app-based. So we have, for example, applications that are device related, so they are not store related, but are device related. So we are then connecting point to point to the single device. In this case, we have app usage, I would say. And for now, we have, let me say, for this store and multi-store approach, we have a web-based interaction, so via browsers mainly. But we are also considering to have, let me say, mobile interactions.
Very good. Thank you, Silvia, for all these questions. One last one from Stefania. Is 24-hour service provided? 24 hours?
That also is something that we have to distinguish. So it's a cloud-based platform that is 24/7, I would say, available on sites. We are together with our customers, we are guaranteeing an average service level that is a certain percentage of online, I would say. But then the services that you may spend on top of by utilizing this, that means, for example, a maintenance service that a contractor can give to the end customer, that is not something that we, Carel, are doing, but we just give the platform in order to serve the end customer with these services by our partner. This is something that is depending on the service level agreement.
Okay.
Contractor want to give.
Thank you very much, Tony, Gabriele. Thank you, Gabriele, sorry. So now we pass the screen to Tony. Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Fieldpiece, very much for being with us, of course. So, ciao, Tony, from Los Angeles, 2 a.m., 2:32 a.m., right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you, Tony, for being with us. Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem.
We see you with your slide very well. So it's your turn. The floor is yours. Thank you, Tony.
Okay, let me get this camera out of the way.
Can you just
okay, perfect. I'm good.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay. So thank you again for this opportunity to share with you about the latest innovations in wireless tool technology in the HVACR industry. I'm very excited to be here, despite the fact, as was stated, that it's about 2:30 in the morning right now, but I am going strong, and I hope all of you are doing as well. For those of you that are not familiar with Fieldpiece, we are a family-owned company, started about 30 years ago. I've been with the company for about 20 of those 30 years, and we are located in Southern California, where I am here with you now. And our mission as a company is to give you HVACR solutions through leading innovation and amazing customer service to help the HVACR professional do their job easier, faster, and better. And the way that we do that is that we only focus on HVACR. We do not go into any other industry. Every design of our test tools are for the sole purpose of making the HVACR technician their job easier, faster, and better. And so we have a wide range of product tools and product portfolio that will allow you to do just that. So, having said that, I wanted to speak a little bit about the industry as a whole. So obviously within our industry, we can divide it into the segments of heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration. So, but under that, we can divide these sectors into different types of applications. So we have residential applications, both heating and air conditioning. We have commercial applications, also both heating and air conditioning. And then we have refrigeration applications. But if we even go one step lower than that, what are the types of jobs that we do for these applications? And so those are mainly categorized by new installations, maintenance contracts, where we go and we simply verify the performance, that the systems are still running properly for the customer. And then we also have service calls and repair calls. So under these types of jobs, we have to verify under certain performance criteria that the system is operating at its peak capacity. And so those criteria are the electrical components of the system, the airflow, which can be commonly overlooked, but is very, very important. We need to verify that the refrigerant charge is correct. And then there are also mechanical considerations to take into account. Those would be things, for example, like having a clean evaporator coil or clean condenser fans, filter, that the ductwork is installed properly and that there are no leakages. Those are what I categorize as the mechanical criteria. And so it's important that we take into account all of these performance criteria in order to ensure that the system is running at peak performance. So I'm sure that all of us are familiar with the refrigeration cycle, but the one thing that I want to point out is the dynamic aspect of this system. So every component has an effect on the other components within this cycle. If there's an issue with the compressor, that will affect the performance of the condenser, and then along the line with the throttling device and the evaporator. And also, on the other side, if there's an issue with the throttling device, it's going to affect other components as part of this cycle. And so as a tool manufacturer that Fieldpiece is, we think about how can we deliver the right tool solutions for you to understand all of the performance criteria in an easy and simple way for you to not only measure it, but document it and have it ready for a report, either for yourself or for the customer. So talking about these performance aspects of the system. So here is an example of a traditional split system residential air conditioner. Now, at the outdoor unit is where we verified that we have correct refrigerant charge. At the indoor unit is where we ensure that the airflow is set up correctly in order to supply the conditioned space with the needed cooling or heating. And in both of these locations, there are electrical components that are necessary for us to test and measure so that the whole system can work together at its peak performance. So I want to speak to more about what are some of the test criteria that we should be performing under these performance criteria, and how is it that leading innovations in wireless test tools can help us do that easier, faster, and better. So I want to first start with the criteria of the electrical components. So as part of this criteria, it is important for us to verify that we have proper voltage, proper system voltage and amperage going into the actual system. It is necessary to check that run and start capacitors are functioning properly, to test diodes and resistances on the PCB, continuity of fuse boxes. And what is also part of the leading or the latest innovation in test tools is to be able to measure the power consumption of the system. And so you can perform a kilowatt test before you actually do a service and show the customer how much energy that the system was consuming, perform your service or perform your maintenance checklist, and then take another power measurement afterwards to show them that the system is actually consuming less power because of the work that you did, and that you are saving them money in that way. And then what is also one step further beyond that, with the wireless technology of the clamp meters, you are able to document each of these measurements and generate it into a performance report, or keep it for your own records so that you can understand the condition of that system the last time you were there. Now, I want to talk a little bit about variable frequency drives and how they can be a little tricky for your normal meter. So, variable frequency drives are commonly found in systems like mini splits, inverter systems, things of that nature. So at a very high level, and why this could be tricky for your normal meter would be that there's a volt AC signal going into the system. And what happens is that AC signal is converted into a rectified DC voltage signal. And after that rectified DC voltage signal goes through some capacitive circuitry, it is then changed back from a DC signal into an inverted AC voltage that is then fed to the motor or to the fan. And what this allows that system to do is to ramp up or ramp down depending on what the load requirements for the conditioned space is. Now, as a result of this AC to DC back to AC conversion, a lot of electrical noise is generated. And if that noise is not filtered out when we're trying to measure the voltage or the amperage that is feeding into the motor or into the fan, the voltage reading that the meter gives us will not be as accurate as it could be. So it is very important that your clamp meter have a low pass filter installed in order to filter out all of the electrical noise that can trick the meter and give you what a good reliable voltage and amperage reading that are feeding your motor and your fan. Also, something that is found on the circuitry and the PCB of these pieces of equipment are these little tiny Molex plugs. And so with your standard test lead tips, you can't get into there to get a proper measurement. And so the wireless power clamp meters from Fieldpiece come with those test lead tips so that you can easily make those measurements, and it allows you to do your job a little bit easier, a little faster, and better. Again, all of these measurements are wirelessly transmitted to your application so that you can document them for a performance report for after you've done with the job. So the next performance criteria would be airflow. Now, airflow is a very, very important factor when it comes to the overall performance of the system. And like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it is commonly overlooked. And so there are, I just want to go over two very, very simple and common tests that you can run and how wireless test tools make that easier for you. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the delta T, or the temperature drop or the temperature rise across the evaporator coil. And so having JobLink wireless psychrometers, you can quickly and easily attach a psychrometer at the supply of your equipment and then at the return of your equipment, and have these measurements wirelessly transmitted to your phone so that you can automatically calculate what the temperature drop is across your coil, or what the temperature rise is if you're in a heating application. And then you can compare that to what the load conditions are. That is a simple, easy way to help verify that you have correct airflow. Now, if your temperature difference is not where it's supposed to be, then that will guide you to try to find out what the problem is. And so with the wireless psychrometers of the JobLink probes, it is very easily to have insert this flexible wand into the ductwork. As you see here, there's a sliding magnet that will allow it to attach to the side of the ductwork, or you can slide the magnet up and stick it onto the register in order to take your temperature and your humidity and your wet bulb measurements. So a quick and easy step to help verify is for delta T for your airflow. Now, another, which I would say is a very simple test to do, but that is not done that often, is in order to verify you have good airflow and not too much restriction in this whole setup of the ductwork that you have here, is to take static pressure measurement. And there is one measurement that the manufacturer of the equipment will specify that's called the total external static pressure. Now, total external static pressure is similar to when we go to the doctor and he measures our blood pressure. That blood pressure is a general indication of our health as people. And in the same way, measuring the total external static pressure at the indoor unit will give you a general health of the system and will allow you to verify whether or not you have too much restriction to the airflow across the indoor unit. And so taking this measurement is fairly simple. And so with the JobLink wireless manometers that measure static pressure, what you do is you have the freedom to freely install this manometer exactly on the piece of equipment where it needs to go using the static pressure probe. So if you see this diagram here on the bottom, this is of a horizontal furnace. And so you have your return plenum coming in here, you have a filter, then you have your fan, you have a heat exchanger, you have an evaporator coil, and then the supply side on the end. Now, what the manufacturer specifies as total external static pressure is to take the static pressure before the fan and after the heat exchanger. And so a common rule of thumb across many manufacturers is that this value, this static pressure difference, needs to be about 0.5 inches of water column or about 124 pascals. And so you can take your wireless JobLink manometer, you can insert the static pressure probe into the ductwork. You want to ensure that the tip of your static pressure probe is in parallel with the airflow, and that you have a magnet here on the tip and a red arrow that will help you place your probe in the correct direction inside of the ductwork. And this will allow you to accurately and quickly take the total external static pressure, and then you can compare that to what the manufacturer rating is. And if you're on, then you're good. But if your static pressure is too high, then you know that there are unnecessary restrictions along the ductwork that could be caused by, a dirty filter, or you have a damper that is open when it should be closed, or you have leaks in your ductwork. But taking the static pressure measurements and measuring your delta T are two very common and simple tests to allow you to verify that you have correct airflow through your indoor unit. So moving on from airflow, let's talk a little bit about the refrigerant charge. Now, here at the outdoor unit is where we verify refrigerant charge by measuring gas pressures, by measuring gas temperatures, and calculating what a superheat is, what a subcooling is. And then also there are certain types of equipment where you charge the refrigerant based on weight by itself. And so how do wireless tools help us do this job a little bit easier, faster, and better? Well, if we start off with the S-Man refrigerant wireless manifold, you can quickly connect this to your system, see your gas pressures, see your gas temperatures. On the screen, it'll calculate automatically what your superheat and your subcooling is based on the refrigerant type that you chose. And if you have to perform a service or a repair, you can quickly and easily recover the refrigerant through the 4-valve manifold, pull your vacuum, and then charge the system back up with refrigerant after you've done your repair. So this is a quick and easy way to verify your subcooling and your superheat, and that your pressures are in line for your services and for your repair. Now, there are other type of field applications where having a manifold is probably not the best solution, and that we would look more towards going to a smaller form factor wireless sensor probe. And so we have two types of job link probes here. We have the job link pressure probe and the job link pipe clamp. And the benefits of these can be found on our maintenance contract visits, where we basically go to the job just to document pressures, document temperatures, superheat, subcooling, indoor temperatures, things of that nature. And we don't want to connect hoses in order to remove refrigerant from the system just because we connected hoses with a manifold. So for our preventative maintenance checks, it is very convenient and quick and easy to just screw these pressure sensors directly onto the service port so that we're not taking any refrigerant out of the system. Use these wireless pipe clamps that will give you an accurate and non-disturbed temperature reading in less than 1 second. Place them onto the pipe clamps, and then all of those pressures and temperatures are sent automatically to your phone in your job link application, and calculations for superheat, subcooling, saturation temperatures are done in real time for you on your phone. And all those measurements can be quickly and easily documented for reporting purposes later. And finally, for those pieces of equipment where you don't charge the superheat or to subcooling, but rather a refrigerant charge, it is vital to have a strong, accurate scale so that you can put in the exact amount of refrigerant that you need into the system based on the manufacturer specification and the length of the line set used to install that piece of equipment. And another added benefit of the wireless functionality is that the amount of refrigerant that you charge or that you recover with is sent to your JobLink application, and you can have that recorded and part of your report so that you can document how much refrigerant was removed, how much refrigerant was charged into the system, and things of that nature. So in closing, wireless test tool technology allows us to connect tools in all aspects of that refrigeration cycle. Take measurements at the indoor unit, verify delta T, verify total external static pressure for your airflow. Have your wireless tools connected at the outdoor unit to be able to verify gas pressures, gas temperatures, superheat, subcooling. Have your wireless power clamp meter have the ability to send voltages, amperages, resistances, capacitors, power consumption values. All that is transmitted to the JobLink application, which with one press of the button will generate a professional measurement report with your own company logo, with your own company information, with your technician information, and all of the measurements from the inside or from the air side, from the refrigerant side, and for the electrical components. So gone are the days when we have to take these measurements one at a time, and that could be time consuming, and we get less jobs done during the day. But with the leading innovations in wireless technology, we can create a snapshot of the performance of the system that will help us give a proper diagnosis of what is going on. And what is also important is that we can document it, and we can provide a performance report for the customer and for our own records. So at Fieldpiece, what we try to do is help you do the jobs that you have to do every single day a little bit easier, a little bit faster, and a little bit better. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. It was excellent, really excellent. I have a question for you. We have now 76 persons looking at us, attendees, participants, today webinar. One question for you. Do you have also graphs at the end, or no? It's just the data you got. So you can provide graphs like continuous data.
Yes. So so the application does have trending, where, let me see if I can just show you here. Yeah. So yes, there are trending capabilities where you can see a real-time graphical representation of your measurement.
Yes. It's great. Yeah, for temperature increase or drop, maybe during the day is really good. Is a good tool for checking the system. Okay.
Also,
Silvia.
quickly. Also, all of these tools also have data logging functionality, so you can leave them on site, have the data saved into the memory of the tool, and then later come back with your app, extract the data, so you can put it on a computer to be able to see those graphs there as well.
Okay. What time frame they have? 24 hours, 48 hours, weeks?
You can go up to 7 days.
7 days, 1 week. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Silvia. We have more questions from the attendees. Please, 76 persons are looking at us. Please write your questions on your right, where it's written questions, please.
Sure. First, we may start with mostly a comment. It's not really a question. It's saying that many technicians are still calculating the temperature with their hands, and this should actually be forbidden. And I guess you agree with that?
Yes, very much so.
Then a question about your tools. If you are requested more tools with the wireless functionality or without?
I'm not really sure I understand the question. Can you rephrase it, please?
If the major amount of tools that the market requests to you is the wireless kind or the old style?
Oh, okay. The demand for wireless technology is increasing every single year, every single day. Typically, our industry in general is slow to adopt new innovations in wireless capabilities. However, as we educate more what the benefits and how is it that they make your job easier, faster, and better, then there's higher demand, and we get very, very, very positive feedback from the users that are using these tools.
That is great. And then we have a question by Ibrahim. He's asking, what is the process of calibration of these tools?
Ooh, very, very good question. So some of the tools have the ability, like the digital manifold, that you can perform pressure calibration and temperature calibration on your own, and that there are operating procedures in the manual so that you can do that. And then for the other tools, we can provide calibration procedures to third-party calibration services so that they can perform the calibrations for you.
Excellent. And from the app, can I export to my Excel file?
Ooh, very, very good question. Right now, you can only export the measurements as a PDF. However, there will be an update coming later this summer where you will be able to export as a CSV, so that you can open it in your spreadsheet application.
Okay, that's excellent functionality. And I would say one more question, and then we go to the final debate, if it's okay. Okay.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
This is about assistance. So can you fix the devices remotely from miles away, or do you need to go to the office check for the data? PMS systems.
Okay, very good. So the wireless technology in these tools is a protocol of Bluetooth called Beacon. And so they have a wireless range of over 100 meters. And so in order for you to view the measurements on your phone, you would need to be within 100 meters of the tool. However, so everything that I showed you on the app today is free to use. You can download the app, it's free. However, there are tiers that have a subscription paid for tiers with a feature that's called live, it's called live look-in, to where I can be a technician on site and have the measurements going on my phone, but then I can call someone else from my company and then have them view my live measurements on their phone, in like any location that they're at. So there is that functionality, but as far as viewing the measurements live, you would need to be on site with the tools. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think you have one more question, maybe from Kadir.
Sure. After reading all values regarding airflow rate, temperature, pressure, etc., any troubleshooting interface to help the service technicians to determine possible problems by using the mobile app?
Yes. So under the measurements here, you have different containers that'll help you with help you figure out if you have any issues with the airflow or with the refrigerant charge. So it compares the actual values to the target values. And then if you're above or below what those target values are, it'll give you some recommendations on what the problem is and where are the areas that you can look to fix that problem. So it does help you in that aspect as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Tony, it was very great. It was very good. Thank you so much. So Silvia, thank you for the questions and organizing the questions. Gabriele is back with us. Ciao, Gabriele, again. I would like now to have a small debate among you with the last questions we have, just because we want to tie up and do a bit of wrap up before saying goodbye to our 70 attendees. We still got 70 attendees with us, and it's great to have 70 people still with us. I will put my PowerPoint here. Let's see. My screen. My screen is here. I think you see my screen, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me put my screen because there's too many window opens. Okay. Let me check here. Okay, just to have a background while we're talking. Okay, so we have one good question about warranty. Manuel is asking about warranty, about we are worldwide, we are global now, of course. So Manuel is asking the warranty of these tools, both of Carel and of Fieldpiece. Is it international warranty? How we can get in contact with you? Maybe Gabriele first and Tony after?
Okay, so yeah, regarding the warranty, so Carel is a worldwide company, has local branches. So from a commercial perspective, there will be always I would say a sales colleague that can be approached locally in many countries. I suggest also in the internet site to check where we are present. Anyway, please, if you don't find it, just get in contact with me. I can also try to find my colleagues for you. Regarding warranties, I mean, for the digital services, there is a contract. that is related to the services that are provided and are delivered. So until the contract is available and is in place, it's a multi-year, so it will be a yearly fee. Until the contract is in place, the warranty stays within the contract. So until the subscription is paid, the system will be maintained, upgraded, bug fixed, and so on. And there will not be, let me say, a single year or a 2 years contract like an hardware piece, I would say.
Okay, Tony, what about Fieldpiece?
Yeah, so warranty is actually very, very simple with Fieldpiece. As I mentioned, that our mission is to provide amazing customer service. And so anybody that has done business with us in the past knows that we take care of our customers. So all of our tools come with a 1-year warranty from the date that you purchased it. But in addition to that, many times we are very, very flexible with our customers, and we just want to make them happy. And so we have a Fieldpiece arm set up in Europe, which is called Fieldpiece Europe, that international customers can put in contact with them for all of their warranty issues. But at the end of the day, we provide amazing customer service, and we want to make our customers happy.
Yes, very good. We have a question from Matteo. I think it's more for Carel, but probably also for Tony. Let me read it. Matteo is asking, any idea about the ROI time, return on investment of your tools?
So this time, Tony, first time?
Whatever.
Tony, myself.
Tony,
come on, Tony.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty simple. Like, one of the ways that we look at it is that if our tools help you complete 5 jobs a day instead of 4 jobs a day, you have basically paid for your tools in about 1 or 2 days. You know, allowing the contractor to do his job faster so that he can fit more contract or more jobs throughout the day, quickly pay for the investment of these type of tools.
Right, Tony. Yes, Gabriele?
Well, regarding the digital service platform, this is a little bit more, I would say, difficult because it depends case by case, you know. So digital platforms sits on top of a field of technologies that also collect information. So it really depends. It's a bit tailor-made, you know, based on the projects and based on the applications. On the other side, I have to say, I mean, if we consider the example that I made, you know, with a really 300-400 savings per evaporator, that will be, I would say, as I mentioned before, a no-brainer. So the cost of the services will be fused within the immense saving you may generate, and will be, let me say, the ROI will be yesterday.
Very good, Gabriele. Thank you very much. Now, there another question which is a bit general, of course, but we are here for answering this general question. Do you have a case study about the saving in using your devices, both wireless, as we said with Tony, and with Gabriele, with IoT? Maybe Gabriele first this time about the savings in energy.
So we have also built up more. Not working always with partner. We don't have often the possibility to have these reference cases shared with names of customers and so on. But we have, let me say, a kind of a reference case book with regarding not only the energies but also call-out savings, and all these things were, as I mentioned before, discussed with the customers, defined with the customers, because at the end every customer is different and has different needs and different pains. So it was always a little bit tailor-made. So they can be reutilized as reference, of course, but it's not always telling the tailor-made truth on every single customer. It's this case by case, but we have.
So it's not only energy save, but also time save, money save, you talk about call out, so
yeah, we are talking about tangible savings that are numbers, like you mentioned, energy, so utility savings. We are talking about also people cost savings. That is a different order of magnitude compared to utilities. And then, to be honest, is also intangible savings, because at the end, the food quality, of course, will be measured by food scrap per year, but it's something that all the technologies that stays, and then Carel focus and stays within the applications, is working all together to improve the performances and to improve also the food quality out of it.
Yes, what about you, Tony? What do you think about this question? Time, money, energy saving using wireless tools?
Yes, let me begin with, I agree with everything that Gabriele said first. And then in addition to that, because of the newness of the wireless technologies, we are still in the process of performing these case studies and talking with our customers and being able to provide data showing, the savings, not only in, as you mentioned, energy of the system, but also time. And many times our time is the most valuable asset for us. And so the more of that we get back, the more revenue we can generate for our HVAC company as the contractor, and then money savings for the customer as well.
Very good, very good. Another question I think is still related is from Stefano. Also, is it? I think it's more for Tony, this one. Is quicker than normal using wireless tools than physical tools?
Yes, it is. It is quicker in two ways. Number one, you don't need multiple people at a job site. So with wireless technology, you can be in multiple places at the same time, and then you can set up the tools once, have everything transmitted to your phone, and on these like maintenance contract visits where the contractor would typically be writing all these numbers down, all that time is not wasted anymore. All those measurements just come to your phone, and then with the touch of the button, you have generated your report, and you've cut out all that time of writing down all of these measurements. And because of the wireless nature, you can install the tools exactly where they need to go to give you the most accurate measurement, so you do the proper diagnosis the first time and not have to come back and fix something that you didn't do right later.
I think it's perfect. Do you want to add something, Gabriele, on that, or is okay?
Well, no, I mean, for me, it's the field technologies. If we consider wireless as a virtual, let me say, network, I also can to cloud-based system against on-premises with the benefits of the cloud-based system. That is more the virtual and the, let's call it, the wireless versions, right, of an on-prem solution that is hardwired and R cable. And that's more or less the benefits that you can get from the cloud that are similar, right? So you get more or less connectivity, remote access, information spread everywhere and broadcasted everywhere. So it's really lean and clean architecture for a digital service platform.
I think this is the last questions, but I think it's good also for both of you. And then we say hello to our 70 attendees. This last question is about the size of a unit. For example, is asking Gabriele here, is asking, but is it valuable also in small systems like cabinet, bottle cooler, vending machine, your systems, or is more indicated for bigger systems? Gabriele, maybe?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, as I also mentioned, there was a question quite similar also before. So the digital service is a platform that we are aiming to have kind of, we are having an holistic approach, try to reach and catch all the applications that are around food and food applications. And of course, we are segmenting our portfolio and our offering that starts from the hypermarket that has all in, and that can feed a lot of information, but also to smaller applications. So let's call it, don't get me wrong, but let's call it cheaper applications. So more price-driven application, you know. So our service portfolio can have the full package, can have a portion of the package, so can be really tailor-made, as I mentioned.
Is it convenient? Is it convenient for small system? I think the question is slightly different. Is it convenient for bottle coolers?
We are, as I mentioned before, we are starting a portfolio of services soon, also for bottle coolers. The actual proposition is more for full stores, but that is more the specific of RAD optimized. Within the RAD service platform that Carel is going to launch in the future, there will be also the bottle cooler package.
Very good, very good. And you, Tony, is it any different, the size for wireless system, or is the same?
Nope, it's the same. The tools are designed for all applications, commercial, residential, refrigeration.
And is convenient for all sizes, with no exception.
Yeah, in fact, like I mentioned, you know, during the training as well, is that the wireless job link probes are actually a much better solution for those critically charged smaller systems that have very little refrigerant in there to begin with, so that you can connect those pressure sensors directly onto the service ports without having to use a long refrigerant hose and actually remove refrigerant from the system just by taking a pressure measurement. So they're actually designed to be even better for those type of applications.
Okay. Very good, very good. So let me say thank you to all of you. Do you have any last comment? Gabriele, Tony, of course, Silvia, have you got any last comments, or you want to thank everybody, or you want to say anything else?
For me, it's just a big thank you for the opportunity, and very thank you for all the attendees, because it was really very, very good questions from all of you. I hope I was able to answer all your questions. Just in case, contact me if you need more information. Thank you.
You, Tony, you're free 3 a.m., 3:20 a.m.
3:27, yes. You know, similar is thank you again for this opportunity. I really enjoy training. I really enjoy talking about, you know, how to make the HVACR professional's job easier, faster, and better. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have an entity set up in Europe, Fieldpiece Europe, so that you know, our international customers can have someone that's close to them, local to their area, that can help them and provide the great customer service that we always try to do. So thank you for this opportunity.
Grazie Silvia, thank you Silvia, grazie mille. So I say goodbye everybody and have a good weekend, okay? Take care.
Thank you.
Bye bye, thank you everybody. Bye, have a good day. Take care.